What's up, everybody, and welcome to TinkTink.org interviews. I'm your host, Josh Wilson, here today with animator, writer, and director extraordinaire, president of Stretch Films, and creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog, Mr. John R. Dilworth. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my duck talking for me. That's my spokesperson, my spokesduck. Quiet now. Quiet. I'm doing an interview. Okay. I like ducks because they listen.
They usually tend to, yeah.
How are you, Josh? Very nice to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming. All right, so let's start at the beginning here. What first got you interested in animation?
A pencil.
All right, next question. So when did you decide, so I'm assuming you just started to draw one day and you really liked it?
Oh, yes. And my mother encouraged me, hoping that, of course, I would make billions of dollars and then support her in her old age, like every good boy, every good son.
That's what we're supposed to do, right?
That's what I found out.
So when did you decide that you wanted to do animation as a career?
When they started to pay me.
So when did they start to pay you? How did you get into that position?
That position is funny because I've been taking yoga for a very long time. And, you know, if you take yoga, these positions are very difficult to master. You have to keep with it. You know, you got to just keep working at it. And then you'll be in the right position. And maybe you won't make any money anyway. You know, that's the rub. So you have to have a passion, man.
It's always good. So let's pretend you did not get into animation. What could you see yourself doing as a career?
Oh, well, that's so serious. I take that very seriously.
Or is that not even a thought?
Oh no, it is a thought because I'm naturally I have a sensitivity to be of some use to others. Like I have a rescue fantasy. I admit, you know, I confess right here on your show, Josh Wilson. So I would have to do something in that kind of area, you know, just to, that's it. I would be of service to others. I don't know what that is because I'm still trying to work out this cartoon thing.
That's very nice. So your animation style is very unique. How did you develop it? Any outside influences or epiphanies you had along the way?
I don't know about the style. Style, I can't define it. Everybody has a different definition of style, but I mean, every cartoon I've made was in a different style, whether the line or the tone or the color scheme. I don't have one particular style, like when you look at something like Groening's work in The Simpsons. You know, you don't have these very iconic artists. You see their work, and that's a style. But I like to experiment a lot. But if you're referring to this kind of irrational behavior in the cartoons I make, then yeah, I would say that's a style. And I immediately think of Robert Clampett, you know, the golden age of Hollywood cartoons, and Tex Avery, and kind of the exuberance and malleability of line and thought that went into these cartoons. And then, of course, Charlie Chaplin was a big admirer of his work, for structure and for writing and for gag setups. I mean, there's so much that goes in. Dance, modern dance. I love modern dance. I love looking at any objects in motion, but also those dancers, those choreographers that actually have concepts behind their work, you know. I always look for the hidden narratives in art. So, I mean, influences, Josh, I mean, they're everywhere. They're like Wi-Fi. You can't escape them. They're passing through your membranes and your cells and doing things, mixing them up and changing, and who knows what's going on. No one's really knowing what Wi-Fi does to you. And it's the same with influences.
Nice. All right, so in 1994, you directed The Dirty Birdy, and it was immensely popular. Why do you think it was so successful?
I don't think people have seen buttocks in that kind of phrasing before.
So the butt got it for you, huh?
Well, in that kind of situation, where it being expressed in this way, because it was offensive, but in a sort of benign way, because I had couched it in all this affection.
Right. All right.
And then of course the song. Maybe the song had a lot to do with it, but I think it was the character. It was easy to empathize with this crazy bird.
Him and his butt.
Well, and his butt, who doesn't want it was a sort of magical butt. It could transform. I mean,
it was a great butt.
Turn into horn. I mean, he's got anything up there, horns and flowers, and it could change shape. It could turn into a hand. It's a pretty amazing butt.
I wish I had it, yeah.
Of course, always returning to the scatological. And thinking about scatological, there's Dali. There's another influence. And you see, it's truly just like Wi-Fi. Stuff just comes right through you.
All right. So 2 years later, in 1996, you hit another home run with The Chicken from Outer Space, and it was even nominated for an Academy Award. So same question as The Dirty Birdy. Why do you think it was so popular?
Oh, well, let's see. The neurotic dog, you're in the middle of nowhere, a loving grandma, and a kind of curmudgeon for granddad. I don't know. These things all contributed somewhat. And then you have this kind of humor mixing with sci-fi. So we're mixing two different genres. These are all parts. These are all just part of ingredients. There's others, of course. There's the alchemy of it as well.
So how did Courage the Cowardly Dog, as most people know it, evolve from The Chicken from Outer Space? Were there any ideas thrown around that didn't make it or anything like that?
Oh, it was a natural evolution, but it took years. It took years. But I had champions. There were some very good people at Cartoon Network at the time, and Cartoon Network at that time, in the mid 90s, was just beginning to get into the serious business of cartoon making, and they were transitioning out from Hanna-Barbera into the Cartoon Network. And it's very important to have people that believe in you as an artist, and I had Linda Szyminski, especially Linda Szyminski, who championed Courage and eventually helped bring it to series. But of course the creators have to do, I had to do a hell of a lot of work and to prove that it could be made, but it was, whatever I did somehow was convincing and lucky. I was lucky because of the time. I think it was a unique time.
Well, I'm glad it all worked out.
Me too!
So were there any particular inspirations for making Courage the Cowardly Dog, or did it just come to you one day? How'd that happen?
Oh, well, originally it was an independent film, and it was going to be in black and white. It was my next film after Dirty Birdy. But Dirty Birdy was so expensive, I was still paying that off. And, so I had to sell, The Chicken from Outer Space so I can raise the money. But it was always influenced by my current life, relationships that I was in, my fondness for the atomic age influence on the world, the myth of the American farm, of course, science fiction and horror. Horror amongst my favorite. When I was growing up, my brother and I were delighted to terrorize our mom by just hiding out in the dark and waiting for her to come home, and then we'd pop out from behind the sofa, and you can imagine, she didn't have a heart attack. But this was generally the idea of horror, the things that you couldn't even imagine actually come true. And this always appealed to me because afterwards there's a laugh.
So could you say was the Twilight Zone perhaps sort of an inspiration for this?
Wonderful show. Wonderful. And then there was shows like with the hand with the 6 fingers. My brother and I would watch all of these things. We would watch monster movies from Japan, Godzilla and Ghidorah and all of that. That's fantastic. We loved that. And read horror books and anything with witches. We loved witches. Woo-hoo-hoo.
All right. So the art style or kind of the feel of Courage, if you watch it, to me at least, it seems very reminiscent of the Dirty Birdy. Was this a conscious choice to make them sort of look similar? Or is that just you drawing and they came out like that?
Well, I see what you mean. In terms of just the art preparation, I know the Dirty Birdy, I was trying with Margaret Fry, the art director, to capture a sort of hand-drawn realism. And we had the tree kind of, that was rendered nicely with all the bark and the clouds. But Courage was taken even further to photorealism, actually using photographic material integrated into the background. And in terms of the malleability of the characters themselves, that's just... I think that is an affection of mine. I like doing that. But again, Courage exhibited much more than the Dirty Birdy. The Dirty Birdy was restrained. You had Fergarina, which was a closed kind of character, didn't really express herself much except in extreme moments. And the Dirty Birdy also, he was also very kind of restrained in his hesitancy for love, So I don't know. There was a lot of things in there. I don't know if they're that similar. Actually, but I don't want to contradict my host. So Josh, you're right.
Oh, I can be wrong. I mean, it's about you, man.
Oh no, it's not about me. Wait, the duck has something to say. Yeah. Oh, the host is always right, Josh. That's what the duck is saying.
Can't argue with him. All right, so you said the actual pictures were incorporated into Courage the Cowardly Dog. Did this speed up or slow down production, or did it really change it any, or how would that go?
It was easy. It's all part of production. You figure out ways to do it, and you make it so that it is manageable.
All right. So besides being the creator of the show, you're also the writer and the director and the producer of the show. So what exactly... Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I had producers. I was an executive producer, and of course there's a lot of responsibilities that I'm involved in. And the writing, I write on every episode, but I had a head writer and a staff of writers. And David Stephen Cohen was my head writer, and he was just tremendous. He got us through all 4 seasons. But generally, the way we worked was like in Termite Terrace, the old Warner Brothers system. We'd have a bunch of writers. I'd bring in a synopsis, the premise, really, of the show I wanted to make, and then we would all expand on it in one room, and it was terribly fun. I mean, you can't imagine the laughter we'd create. And especially, there was one insanely talented gag writer, William Hohauser. He and I would get on these tangents and absurd situations, and many of them would make them into the cartoons. It's a lot of fun working with people who have great imagination and the will to be fluid, spontaneous, and expressive. I love that. That was a great part of the situation. And directing, I did direct them all. That's true. But again, each department I had a head of each department that I would work with, and we figured out a way to make John Dilworth happy, with the cartoons. And of course I set a threshold. If I could get at least 70% of what I would do myself, it was okay, because a series is immensely difficult to produce. No one could imagine how difficult it is unless you're actually doing it. So one must. I had to accept shortcomings in the production, and that's just the nature of the business. There it is, Josh.
Boom. So what did you do specifically as the director? What does a director for an animated show do?
Oh, we have a big office with corner, and we have a massage in the morning, and then we soak our feet in the afternoon.
Right.
Then we have our nails done sometime before lunch, and then we have, of course, a lunch. And
No
then
brunch?
after lunch, we might have a siesta and another massage because it's very stressful. And then, of course, the day is over, and we go home.
Whew, sounds pretty brutal.
That's why everybody wants to be a director, Josh.
So you're the owner of Stretch Films. What's it like owning your own animation company, and how is running the company different compared to any of your other positions in the past?
Running your own business it's an honor, and I think all artists should have their own business. Of course, it's really an excellent way to control your work and your own life. But it's a hell of a lot of work, and it's also a privilege. I mean, we can do this here in the United States, and I'm very happy to participate in this system.
So maybe a big question, but off your head, do you have a particular favorite episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Oh, there's so many, Josh, so many. There's one, I especially am fond of the ones my brother designed before he passed away, my precious brother Jimmy. King Ramses' Curse. He designed this very flat, strange King Ramses, which I love. And You're Not Perfect. He did the head that's floating in this sort of liquid in CG. He designed that. And then, of course, there's the Tower of Dr. Žalost, which I wrote in Zagreb, in Croatia at the time. And Žalost in Croatian is fairly close to sorrow. And there was a great old tower in the city of Zagreb that was the model for the tower in that cartoon. So there you go. There's more examples of influences. Wherever you could go anywhere, and suddenly you're being influenced, and it appears in your art or your writing or in your personality.
All right.
That's what's so great about making films as well, Josh. Animated independent films is if you're lucky enough to get invited to festivals in strange countries, go and visit and meet people and see the world. This was lovely. This is a great part of making animated films.
All right, so there is a fan theory out there, I think on Reddit perhaps, that the monsters in the show are just regular, everyday people from a dog's point of view. Can you comment on this?
Why not? Why not? I receive many theories, and these are exciting. Personal intuition, personal insights are just that. They're coming from the personal subconscious. How could it be wrong? I accept them all. I accept them all.
Nice. All right, so did Courage the Cowardly Dog end when you wanted it to, or did y'all have more stories to tell?
Oh, we have plenty of stories to tell, and hopefully we will be able to tell more. We're in a very exciting period where Turner is deciding to bring back Courage as a reboot, possibly in CG. We did a special last year called The Fog of Courage, and you could see a clip on the Stretch Films YouTube channel. And we're waiting to hear the decision. If Turner decides to make more, you'll be seeing more of Courage. And it's also important for fans to write to Cartoon Network and let them know how they feel about more Courage. If they want to write in, maybe it's a good idea to let them know that they can do that at http://cartoonnetwork.com/feedback and help us get Courage back on the air, because we do have many more stories to tell, and who knows where we'll develop Courage in the future. Right. Maybe he has a girlfriend. Why not? He's never had one, right? And who knows?
I'm worried for the little guy.
And the CGI component is a real challenge. A real challenge. One other thing I wanted to mention, Josh, and I hope you have me back to discuss the Dirty Birdy sequel that we're preparing to make either at the end of this year or the beginning of 2015. And in mid-July, the Dirty Birdy Redux will premiere at the Woodstock Film Festival in New York, in upstate New York. And what it is it's 1 minute of never-seen footage restored into the film that I had cut out originally. That it's a flashback of when and how Dirty Birdy learned how to express affection through his dynamic butt. And so we've got Technicolor remastering the original negatives, and we're right now editing the new material in. So we'll have this available fairly soon, and we plan to have a premiere online as well. So we'll let you know, so you can let your fans know as well, Josh.
Very nice, thank you. All right, so you mentioned the Fog of Courage. Now, up until recently, to have been able to see any of it, you would have had to have been at a convention. Was there any particular reason why this special hadn't seen the light of day outside of a convention until now?
The Fog of Courage plays at film festivals. It's been screening at film festivals.
Film festivals.
Yes, around the world, and we're continuing to submit it. And according to Turner, it's slated for broadcast on Halloween 2014.
Oh, so the rest of the world will get to enjoy it.
Yes, but of course, nothing is in the world of corporate networks. Nothing is absolute. Right.
Well, we can hope. We can hope. So in the Fog of Courage clip that is on YouTube, and I do believe your site, stretchfilms.com.
Yes, it just went up. Yes.
All right. So, quick question. It sounded like most of the original voice actors were in there, but Eustace was obviously voiced by a different actor in the special. Would that particular voice, if the series gets greenlit, would it be all the original characters, or would there be any different actors?
No, we had the entire cast except for Lionel Wilson, who was the original Eustace. Lionel, sadly, he passed away during the original series,
right?
And we had Richard Anderson come in to replace him. I hope I got that right. Can't remember, but the current Eustace is the almighty, fantastic Wallace Shawn from Princess Bride and My Dinner with Andre and numerous other things. I mean, a fantastic voice personality. And I feel that if he wanted to continue doing them, and if we had the opportunity, it would be lovely to continue working with him. Absolutely, Josh. Yes.
Well, everybody, since you're already here, you might as well subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be sure to visit our site, TinkTink.org, for all of your nerdy needs. Also, be sure to head on over to StretchFilms.com to check out The Fog of Courage and other cartoons John has made. And special thanks to John for talking with us today. It's been great. This has been Josh Wilson.